Good morning, everyone. Hi, Julie. Hi, Debbie. Thank you guys for hopping on with me today. This is very last minute, as I know. So we are going to make a simple card today. I am obviously having a little bit of an obsession. This kind of usually happens with the Artistically inked stamp set. So that is this really nice stamp set. I have almost all the stuff mounted that I'm going to use. It's really nice because you can get a beautiful watercolor, but very forgiving card with this stamp set. It's really, really beautiful. It's very, very simple to use. One other thing, and whoops, I apologize. My ribbons are getting a little crazy over here. This also does have a designer series paper that coordinates with it. However, I will tell you, it has gone in and out of stock numerous times. So I believe it is in stock at this time. It is a gorgeous paper. It has so many just beautiful components to it. It has gold, here it is. It has gold accents to it. And it's same thing. It's a very forgiving, easy to use pattern. You can see some of the pieces here. They're really pretty. This one this one is the other one. It has some gold in there. These have gold as well. It's a beautiful color palette. This reminds me of the Wizard of Oz, the Emerald City. I love this piece. That's probably why I still haven't used it, because I'm a little nervous. But anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful patterned paper. I believe it is in stock. It came in, it went out. I'm fairly certain it's in now, but in case it's not, there's also some other paper I was going to show you for this card that would really work nicely with this layout that I've devised today. Let me just scoot these couple things over. Thank you to everyone who participated in the paper, ribbon, or combo share. It was a huge success. I do appreciate that. So thank you if you took part in that. So for the card today, we're going to use we call this a hot dog because it's long and thin as opposed to a hamburger, which is a short and wide card layout. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And I'm attempting, except for adding one piece to this, it's going to be a 1-layer card. So it'll be very simple. So I already have this scored and folded, but I'm going to keep it open. I just folded it so I could see the crease where it is. And my idea is, I haven't made one, but I have an idea in my head. My idea is that we're going to stamp some stuff in the background. We're going to stamp a few of these images, and then we're going to add, so here's my thought, a piece of the cork designer series paper is, I think, what I want to do for this. I'm not sure. I also did pre-cut a piece, and this color doesn't coordinate with what I started with, but you could easily change it. This is a piece of the 2021-23 in color designer series paper. This is the Evening Evergreen, and it does have another side to it. So there are also 2 other patterns, so it's double-sided on another pattern as well. I did pre-cut a few things, and the reason being is I don't have the die set for this. So just to quickly go over that, I'll show it to you. The die set, in addition to cutting out, it cuts out the large flower, the leaf, the double leaf, and I believe these 2 flowers. It also has this other piece here, which you should be able to see, but I'll show you in the back as well. So you can die cut this little floral image. So you could do that from gold foil paper. I'm pretty sure we still are carrying gold foil. Silver foil. You could use it from the specialty paper. There's a lot of different stuff that you can do. And you can even see on this piece here, they even they did a wreath with it by cutting out some of the pieces out of the designer series paper. And ironically, this paper here, so just kind of give you a little explanation, this is one of these papers. I don't know if I still have it or if I used all of it. No, I have this one little piece left, but you can see it has these stripes. This was on the orange, kind of like I don't know if this is mango or papaya, but the other side has the gold stripes, and they actually use that to cut this out. So it gives them the die cut, and it's on the designer series paper, so it's kind of 2 for 1. It makes it a little bit easier. But I'm going to show you in the back because I marked it so I'd remember. Here are the dies, so you can see them a little bit better. So they have all these little floral pieces, or not floral, leaf pieces here. So what they did is they just cut leaf pieces out of the designer series paper, and then you can make that really cool wreath. So it's a very versatile stamp set. And you can see this is pretty big. I would say, I would bet this is probably 6 by 6. That's my estimate. Could be 12 by 12, I don't really know, but that's a cool idea for a wreath. So you have the large flower, the smaller flower, has a lot of die cuts to it, and this little piece here, which I do really like these now that I think about it. Again, I always say, sometimes I'm like, you know, you should get both because you're going to buy it anyway, and I didn't, and I should have. So there you go. Anyway, we're going to use this today, but I wanted to show you one other example if maybe you don't happen to have the artistically inked stamp set yet. The other thing, it does come with these, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, Amphira pieces. So it's these gold foil pieces, and they're really pretty, very decorative. So you can add those touches to it as well. I could be saying it wrong. But another thing I thought would be kind of cool to use with this, which also does coordinate with the cork paper, is the Nature's Harvest. So this kind of could be similar. So I did go ahead and buy both of these. This is in the new mini Christmas holiday, June, July to December, winter, whatever it is you want to call it, stamp set. And we used to have a stamp like this many, many years ago. I loved this stamp set. It's beautiful. Black-Eyed Susan you could go with. You could go with a daisy. It could be lots of different things. But this one also does have dies to coordinate. So you can see it. We'll cut that out. It also has a single, which would be really pretty. You could cut this with watercolor paper. So this one is something I still haven't used yet. But I thought you could also use this. It does have a lot of really nice sentiments as well, which is kind of why I wasn't sure which one I was going to use yet. So I do still have this here because I'm not sure about my sentiment. And then the other thing is, in addition to the dies, this also does have a really nice designer series paper that goes along with it. And I gotta tell you, a couple of these color-wise, this is a great color combination. You have Crumb Cake, Calypso Coral, and I believe this is Soft Succulent. But even if you threw in, this I think is Balmy Blue. Look at this color combination just from fooling with the paper. And even with the yellow, it's really, really beautiful. So this would be great to make a card just with that. So those are the designer series paper. Again, that's in the Nature's Harvest suite, which is in the holiday or winter catalog, whichever you prefer to call it. So I'm going to set that over here. So for this today, I did do a little bit of the stamping ahead of time, and I'm going to show you what I did. I have 3 different greens. So originally I did Shaded Spruce and Granny Apple, but when I was thinking of potentially using this piece, I kind of figured I maybe should pull out the Evening Evergreen. So you could either replace that, which would look nice. If you don't have that one, you could use Shaded Spruce and Granny. I'm going to see which one I end up using, but I think I might stamp the Evening Evergreen just in case I decide to use it. So those are the greens. And then for the pinks, and when you see what I've stamped, because I did do a little bit of pre-stamping and die cutting, but I wanted to show you along what I did. I actually used these, but it looks like there's more colors when you'll see it. So Magenta Madness, Polished Pink, and Melon Mambo. They kind of worked really well together. I know they kind of seem, the magenta can be a little purplish, but when you see what I used it for, you probably will understand. So I do also have, just because this is a cleaner piece, and here is my host code in case you have something you need to get. I have a little scrap piece because we are going to do a little bit of stamping off, and that's how we got the multiple colors without using terrifically large amount of inks. So I have a piece here. This actually coincidentally already has adhesive sheet on it. So I'm going to use this for my stamping because I will go back and make another card after the fact. Have some other scrappy pieces here as well. So just be for the leaves. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do to start. We'll do the leaves first, and I'm going to do an Evening Evergreen leaf as well. So basically what I did is I have all the stamps mounted and just stamped these as they were. Do one more of those. And then I'm going to do, so again, that was Evening Evergreen, Granny Apple Green for a couple of the smaller leaves. And I'm just using up some scrap paper that I have here. There's that, and I'll do one more just for the heck of it. And if you were wanting to, and I'm going to just show you this just because so you can see it inked, it does give a really beautiful image. I'm going to clean my stamp off. I had just wet this. So you do, this is the Stampin' Scrub in case you've never seen it. One side's wet, one side's dry. I always end up mixing them up for some reason. I'm not really quite sure why. So I think I need to clean this out. But what you normally do is you'll spray your Stampin' Mist onto this, wet it, and then dry it, and it really gets them clean. And the great part about this versus the chamois, and this is just personal preference, everybody is different, but I feel like it gets into the nooks and crannies sometimes a little bit better, especially with these really detailed stamps. So we have also our shaded spruce. I'm just going to stamp one so you can see the color difference. So that's the Evening Evergreen, Granny Apple Green, shaded spruce. And the shaded spruce is a beautiful color. I think it's a little bit underrated because I think sometimes people think this is just a Christmassy color, which for me, we're not really using this for Christmas. So you can use it for lots and lots of different things. But one other thing you'll notice about this, just with the leaves, is how detailed these are. They really do look like watercolor images. They're super pretty, very detailed. They have a lot of life to them for just a plain stamped image. So that's the leaves. I did go ahead and die cut some of these, so I'm probably going to just die cut these two dark, or I'm going to fussy cut these two darker ones. I'm going to set them on the side. And then to get the flowers, I did a couple different things. So and you can kind of decide what you want to do for this. It's really up to you. Again, this will have a die that coordinates the other flower. They both have dies that coordinate. Even the smaller one does. So I'm going to stamp this first. This is inking in Polished Pink. And I'm going to stamp off and then stamp. Okay, so I did this two different ways. So it kind of depends on what you like. So I'm going to use the smaller image. And then this, just with using the same ink, if you're using it, so it gives you two different tones of ink. So this is stamped off, and this is full strength. So pretty simple. Another thing you can do, and I'll show you this with the round, this would be the smaller image, and I'm going to take the dots. Let me close this one. You could do this with the magenta or with the melon. And I just added a few little, and you can see the pinks are much more vivid. So it's giving you just that little depth to the image. Same thing with this if you wanted to. So this one will stamp off first. You can see it gives you a totally different tone. So stamped full strength versus stamped off. One other thing to note with this specific style of a stamp is that sometimes it will actually give you a better image if it's not as fully inked. So I know that kind of sounds a little counterproductive, but if you look at this, even though this is regular paper versus the cardstock, you can see much more detail on the stamped off image. So if you're also trying to achieve that, the other thing you can do is just pull out your handy dandy plastic spoon and move your ink over to one side. That way you don't have an oversaturated pad when you're stamping. So that's another kind of a helpful tip. I'll do another one. I think this should fit over here. There's that. And I'll just show you the difference of these two so you can see. I have to clean this off. And then just to show you the difference with the Melon Mambo. Okay. So it just gives you another kind of set of images, if that makes sense, because you're inking it in multiple different inks. And I want to grab this once more for the little dots. This is back again to the Magenta Madness. And you can always just kind of add. I usually will at least turn them. So you'll have kind of three different things that you could use. So let me close this. And I want to keep this out because we're going to actually do something a little bit different with this one. And this is going to be where we come to the stamped off image. You could also do this with a totally lighter tone as well. So if you wanted to do that, I would say to maybe step to Flirty Flamingo, or Blushing Bride. But I think Petal Pink is a little bit too much of a brownish pink. So I'm going to keep Blushing Bride out and the Polished Pink. This will be for our base. So long story short, what I did is I'm going to cut just these two. Fussy cut. These do have dies, but again, just in case you missed the beginning, they were pretty simple to cut. I did leave the white border around, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But because this is how you would get that look if you were die cutting it. So I just fussy cut these. So it just kind of goes to show you that you don't have to buy everything, but a lot of times I find that I kind of wish I did. So that's the way I look after the fact, where I thought, well, I've done it so many times before. And also another thing that is a huge sell for me is I do, and I know I've mentioned this to you all before, I watch a lot of card videos. I love crafting. I love watching people craft, even if it's not me doing it. But if I ever get into kind of a funk where I really don't feel like I know what I want to do, a lot of times I will just go back and watch someone craft. And that will give me enough inspiration that I will kind of start doing something or thinking of an idea on my own. And the other thing that I find that helps me when I'm in a slump is just to kind of clean up my card area, because a lot of times if it gets too out of control, it just kind of becomes overwhelming to me, and I find that I can't create anything. So the other day, I finally have gotten to the point where I put all of my retired stamps off of the floor because I had them pulled out, and coincidentally, I also had a stamp set that I used for something, or I shouldn't say the stamp. I was going to retire the stamp set. Well, the dies weren't retired, and I only found out because I looked in the catalog and realized it after the fact. So anyway, the nice part about these, as I told you, I did already put the adhesive, so when I pull these off, they'll just be like stickers, so I can just use them over and over. I'm just going to get rid of these so I can make this a little bit neater when it comes time to clip. Put this on the side. All right, so I have some of these already die cut. You can see some of them are a little bit closer than others. Just depends on what you want to do. The other thing that you can do with this, and I'm going to show you on this one, and this will kind of make a little bit more sense, is you can take a blending brush if you're trying to lighten the edges a little bit. And instead of maybe going with like we do with the marker or going around with the marker, I'm going to take Sahara Sand. And I'm going to take my blending brush and I'm going to ink it just a little bit. I don't want a lot. And I'm just going to blend over. And it will very, and I mean very, very lightly, it will very, very lightly blend off the edges, which you probably can't even see, but it loses a little bit of that white look to it. You can kind of tell the difference between here and here. This is super white. And this has like a little bit of a tint to it. This would also be another great thing to do if you are a person who likes to make cards that look kind of like an antique patina or feel to them. So just doing that, again, super light blending brush. You can see there's barely any ink on there at all. It was really, really light. And there's not even much left on the brush. But that's another idea. So I'm going to keep this out just in case I decide to go that direction. Okay, so for the cards, what I'm going to do, where is my white piece? I had it here. Well, I'll just use this one. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to take my base, and just to be on the safe side, because I don't want to over ink it, I'm going to grab, and I think this should be a big enough scrap piece. This is just a scrap piece of the frog tape, and I'm just going to tape right up here, kind of so twofold, so I know where the line is. But just in case I kind of get out of control with my stamping. So I am intending, if we have our piece down here, I kind of want my flowers to be, we'll say like over to this side. So I'm also going to do one other thing. Where is my... Oh, I hope I didn't take both of them downstairs. Well, here, we'll just use this for now. But I just have a pencil, and I'm going to make a super light pencil line. Really, really light on there, just so I know where to not stamp below, because it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect it. but it'll kind of give me an idea of keeping it over on this side because I'm going to kind of have a left sweeping card. So I'm going to go with the Blushing Bride first. And again, I haven't only had this idea in my head, so hopefully it's going to work out the way I want. So I'm going to ink my Blushing Bride, and I want to stamp this once just to see if I like the color or not. Let's see. It does go pretty well with it. It's a little bit softer. So I'm going to ink my Blushing Bride, stamp it off, and then kind of stamp. And then we'll do one more. Same thing, stamping it off. Okay, so we have both of those there. Then I'm going to ink, and I'm going to wipe, just clean this off just to kind of keep it a little bit cleaner. I'm going to take my polished pink, and same thing, I'm going to ink this. So I'd have inked, stamp it off, and I want this little bit to stick out a little bit more, just like so. So I don't want it super dark, so far so good. And then what I'm going to do to kind of lighten this whole situation up, instead of going with the Evening Evergreen, I'm going to start with the Soft Succulent. I just want to add a couple little leaves in. Just clean this. And I tell you what I originally was going to do is I was going to use the new black and white checkered, and you can see it right here, ribbon. It might be gingham. It could be black and white gingham. But with the piece here using the cork, I'm not sure if it's going to fit or not. Coordinate, I should say. All right, so I am going to do a leaf, full strength. Just kind of adding a couple in here and there. Remember, we are going to cover a little bit of this up. So I'm hoping for what, what my idea is, that we're not going to goof it up too badly. We'll see in a minute, though. Okay. One other thing that you could do with this to totally change the feel of it, if you felt like putting in the effort, and again, this is the first one, so we could always do it another time, is you could mask a lot of this. You could cut these out with masking paper, which unfortunately Stampin' Up! Does not sell, but I can put a link in the blog post to a masking paper that I get on Amazon. It's pretty reasonable. And the nice part about it is you can use it over and over and over again for the project. All right, so one more thing. I'm going to add in these little dots, and I want to add them in prior to adding our flowers. Make sure that's clean enough. And this is where we're going to decide if we think we could use this together. So I'm going to just unclip this. And I want to put this here. And I don't know, I'm just going to kind of get an eyeball look. I don't know. Honestly, I think it could probably go either way, but you guys let me know, what do you think? Do you think that the black and white and the cork go together? Because they are two different patterns, and I know we have a very natural look and then the black and white. If it's too much, let me know. We can always pick something different, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and add in just a few of these, and I think I'm going to do these in the Melon Mambo just to kind of bring that color in since we did it for the flowers. So I'm going to take just a little dot pattern, and I'm just going to kind of put a few dots here and there. That way, depending on where our flowers fall, we might see just a smidge of this to kind of bring the whole thing together. So I'm getting probably a little overzealous with my dotting, but some of it is going to be covered up. So just kind of remember that as well. All right, so there's that. Hi, Tina and Linda. Thank you all so much for hopping on here and joining us. And who else is there? Diana and Jean. Saw Debbie earlier. Sharon, Amy. Thank you guys all for joining. You got your paper yesterday. Wow, Amy, that was super fast. That's because you're close, but better than nothing, right? Okay, so, and don't worry, late to the party, no worries. I'm going to remove this. And I will tell you one thing. I probably had a little bit of an edge there because it did just slightly tear my paper. And that was a pretty well-used piece of frog tape. So with the frog tape, you do still have to be careful. Sometimes it can be a little weird on your paper. Get that little scrap off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead right here and just fold this, and I just want to make sure this is Good. Go like that. Like that. Okay. That looks good. I'm going to go ahead and also grab my eraser, and I'm going to just erase this little pencil line. You're probably not going to see it anyway, but just in case I manage to not line it up correctly. Okay, that looks good. All right. One other thing I think I want to do, and I was kind of thinking about this after the fact. So if we go with the black, I think I might end up adding a black sentiment, a sentiment in black. So maybe we'll go with this. I want to put best wishes, and then maybe that'll kind of tie the black to it. So we'll see how it looks. We'll see what it looks like. Hey, Cindy. So I'm just going to pick this up. And one other thing I am going to do in the meantime, because you all know my love of the VersaFine because it gives such good detail. I'm going to use this. I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to set it on the side. And then we'll kind of figure out what we're going to do with our card. So it's the first time using this. Let's make sure. Oh, look how beautiful and crisp that is. So I'm going to put this here. Okay. Leave that. And all right. So that's where we're going to go. So we're going to go with this. We're going to do our little piece of ribbon, which I think I'm going to just adhere right to the top of this. And I think I'm going to use tear and tape for this. That way it's a little bit less of a pain to deal with. The cork paper, I'm not sure if this is or isn't a back. This is honestly the very first time I've used it. I'm not sure if it's a self-adhesive or not. Doesn't seem like it is. I think it's just what it's hooked to. So this is going to just get glued down directly. And since I'm using tear and tape for the ribbon, I think I might actually just do the same for this. So I'm going to do that for both. So just working around again, I did pre-cut some of this. So I think I'm going to avoid the shaded spruce, and I think I'm going to go with the evening evergreen added to this. Again, remember, we are going to have some pieces that stick up. Here are some of the pieces that I already went ahead and cut out, so we can add these after the fact. I think I still may use the Granny Apple Green, though, just because it's kind of still goes. This was shaded spruce. This one was, so I'm going to put this to the side as well. And then this one was also shaded spruce. So I have the 3 pieces that have the evening evergreen. Nope, I'm fibbing. This was shaded spruce. I might do one more. And my piece here, I'm going to let you guys decide which one you like better. I have the one with the circle, and then I have the smaller one. This, I think, needs a little bit of sponging, and I think I'm going to add just a teeny bit of Wink of Stella to it. So just bear with me one sec. I'm going to stamp one more leaf pattern with the, was this evening evergreen? Nope, that was the shaded spruce. Just re-spritz this. Sorry, we have some sort of little crazy bug that wants to be on camera. All right, so one more of the evening evergreen, because I feel like with the leaves, I want another one. Oh, heavens. Go, go, go. All right. Okay, so I'm going to just trim this. Nice part about this one is that we'll have adhesive on the back, so I can just stick it straight down. And again, the other thing we could do, now that I've changed to the evening evergreen leaves, which is funny because I had a plan. But you all know how that goes with me. I have a plan and then I abandon my plan very simply. All right, so here's my other one. We could always even bring this in instead, but I kind of like the contrast of the tan. I think we're going to use the tan, or the cork, I should say. It just gives like a nice contrasted look. So we have both of these, and I am going to, I'm just going to grab a, I don't have enough of the blending brushes. Every time I go to order them, they're out of stock, which I guess is a good thing. I'm going to go with the Blushing Bride just to soften the edges of these just a little bit. And this is a pretty light color, so I'm being a little bit heavier than I probably, whoops, would be. Okay, and I'm going to do that with this one as well. And this one, just in case. I don't know which one you guys have decided yet. And then I'm going to add just a teeny bit of Link of Stella. Okay. And I don't know. Every time I seem to grab my Wink of Stella, they're out. So I'm using some Contraband shimmer pen. I don't really want the whole thing, but I kind of want to add a couple spots because I don't really want to, I'm trying not to blend the color because these shimmer pens will reactivate your ink. So you kind of have to be careful. You don't want to mix colors together. So that's why I'm kind of just doing like a sideways dab. That way it'll give a little bit of shimmer to it. I'm going to add just a stripe down the leaf. Do that down each of these. And by now, I think my sentiment. So you can see the tip of this is now green. So it does pick up the ink. So just make sure that you're careful with your colors. You don't want to mix them because then you'll have muddy colors. And that's just, nobody likes muddy colors. All right, so I'm going to pop one of these here just for eyeballing sake. We can even tuck one underneath. Have our other one over here. Maybe one back there. And so which one do you like better? Do we like the smaller dots? Or do we like, let's see if I can kind of get this to line up. Do we like the larger piece? I kind of like the larger, but I don't know. So you all tell me. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and add some tear and tape to the back of this piece here. This is my cork paper. And I'm going to just... Probably could also do this with the other adhesive, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put one little piece in the middle. Sometimes the Stamp and Seal, I almost called it Fast Fuse, the Stamp and Seal Plus, I find that it pulls up on the paper, and I hate to have like put all this effort into something and then it rips my paper, so I'm just going with tear and tape. So I have tear and tape on the back. I put it along the sides and then just one small piece in the middle. And I think this is going to work for this. I think it's about the right size, but just to be on the safe side, I'm also going to grab my, where are you hiding in here? My silicone mat. Move this up here for a moment. And put this down this way. Come this direction. I know I don't need a whole lot. We're going to go right here. You can always trim whatever we need. Just going to lay this on top. Oh my goodness. And the people behind us, God bless them. I'm sure nobody that lives in this neighborhood is watching me, but they're getting something put in behind their house. They are kind of up to forestation area like we are, and it's not very foresty. It's pretty small. But man, they have been out there with this front end loader going back and forth. And I don't mind any construction equipment, but I'll tell you what, when you start to hear beeping and it's going on for like 8 hours, and it kind of makes you feel a little nutty sometimes. I was sitting out back yesterday, and normally I just like to listen to, you know, the sound of whatever is going by, the birds. We do have a pretty big street, intersection, I should say, up the street from us. But holy moly, I had to turn the radio on because the buzzing was driving me a little, the beeping was like making me a little angry. It's never happened to anybody else. It's like you don't mind anything, but my heavens. And I think I'm going to actually put this behind so the flowers spill over. Okay, so we've got larger, 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 and one smaller. I'm sorry, Linda. Next time. So I'm going to put this on, and I think I'm going to actually put these on with dimensionals. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder and just curl just a couple of the edges of the petals. And I'm not going to do them all forward, but it kind of gives you a little bit more a depth of feel to your flower. And I'm going to do the same with these. I'll do one up, one down. Kind of the same. These should still mail, I would imagine, with regular postage, okay? But And do the same with this. This one we're just going to kind of giving this a point just to give it a little something. There we go. Okay, so I think that's good. We have all these things. So I'm going to actually put this on first, and then we'll redo our other pieces. So I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to say hopefully, yeah, it did. I was going to say hopefully this tearing tape is going to work after I went on about the Stampin' Seal Plus. So the reason, if you'll notice the title of this, I've been trying to do this lately, and I know sometimes it's difficult, personally, for me anyway, to find things I'm looking for on YouTube, but I like to kind of be general with my description because this is a very easily duplicatable layout, and that's kind of what I was going for. Look how cool that is. It kind of looks like a shelf. Really like it. It's very pretty. I want it to be that you can take this, and maybe you don't own this stamp set, but you can still make a very similar style card using this kind of layout. Kind of like I did the other week when we did those little panels and we used the tag punch, which I did order my new tag punch, so I'm excited to use that for another card. But I'm trying to make this so maybe you don't even have the stamp set, but you have something that will be similar that will work. Now, hopefully this is going to work. Let me see how we can pull this. I probably should have left myself a little bit of wiggle room. Give this a super press and see. Maybe this wasn't my best idea with the ribbon. Nope, we're good. I think it's on there. Yep, so I'm just going to pull off my release paper. One other thing I did notice, though, when I line this up down here at the end, and you can see it as well. You should be able to. There's a little bit of hangover here. So what I'm going to do is just take this and flip it, because it's still pretty sticky. That way the adhesive will be folded behind just like that. Okay, so I just have my little piece of ribbon, and I'm going to need to trim this just a smidge. So I'm going to try to go over a little bit. I could have done this before, but I don't want to wrap it around since we're just on a single layer card, so I'm just going to trim to the edge. So just taking this, have it pretty well lined up, and I'm just going to pull the sticky. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm just going to trim this little smidge off. Same here. Okay, so there's that. It kind of does tie together nicely with the tan and the black. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I think once we have everything layered on there as well, it should look a little bit nicer. So again, I am going to put these on with dimensionals. So I'm just going to flip these over. Could have raised our sentiment if we wanted to. Just kind of depends on what you're in the mood for. You could do that as well. I'm going to put a few of these in the center. That way we can kind of tuck some of the other stuff in. And that should be good with 2. So let's just kind of eyeball again where we wanted this. We had this one here. Had this one kind of over top. We were going to bring one of these in here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put this on with a mini glue dot, and just bear with me here. I have a few things I'm trying to use through. So see if I can grab a couple of these off. I'm just picking up, oh, I forgot the entire glue dot with that one. Fabulous, there it is. I'm just picking this up, so we kind of wanted it to go that way. And I'm gonna put a glue dot here. These are the ones that come in the paper pumpkins. And I'm gonna stick this to it, but then I wanna put a dimensional on the back. So that was kind of my idea there. I'll put a dimensional on the back of this. Because remember, we do have the curl, so we don't want to put a dimensional to smash this down. So that's why I'm kind of trying to anchor to the certain area. So we have like that. And I think we had another one we wanted over here. So same thing again. I'm just going to put a glue dot onto the tip of my leaf. Kind of hook that in. And then one more, I think, over here. Okay, and then I'm going to add a dimensional to each of these. The other thing you can do if you ever feel like maybe your glue dot won't hold is you can also put your dimensional at the meeting point. So where the leaf and the flower meet, kind of gives you a little bit extra insurance there. So since I did that, I'm going to put one more dimensional right here, but good idea for that. All right, so I'm going to put this baby down first. You know, the other thing we could have done to this too, and I could still do it, is to put a little faux bow. Would have been here nice as well. Hey, 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 shush, shush, shush. No, no. No reason. No reason. It's just the lawnmowers. It's okay. I know. Jack has a very strong opinion, apparently. Maybe he doesn't like bows. He is kind of funny, and people said this to me originally. They used to ask me if he talks back, because if you all remember, he is a lab shepherd mix, and apparently shepherds can be a little mouthy. And I kind of thought, I was like, you know, I did kind of notice that. Ooh, this isn't right. Hold on, what did we do here? Did I get my... I don't want to cover up my best wishes, and I don't want this to hang too far out. Might have to adjust this a little bit. Luckily, it was only a glue dot, so you can always put another one on there. But people would ask me if he talks back. And I was kind of like, oops. I don't know. Maybe he does. And then the more and more I realized is what they were saying is that they just, like, if you'll say something to them, they legitimately will just, and balk. Almost, I always say he's kind of like a chicken. He balks back at me. There we go. That's a little better. So it's kind of funny that he does. I feel like this one got a little bit more hidden. I almost know if I want to pull this up a smidge, because this flower I feel like has so much front and center. Maybe this one is going to come down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the other thing we could do, and I said this after the fact, obviously if you're going to want to put your ribbon on and you want to do a faux bow, you might need to go a whole wrap before you put this down. But the other thing you can do is you can always take your ribbon, and you might want to start with a little bigger piece. Sometimes it's hard to tie a small ribbon. You kind of have to start larger and make it smaller. We can even tie. I feel like I'm talking to a child when I'm shushing him. Although it is kind of a competition between who listens better, him or a Christian. All right, so we're gonna make this just a little smaller because we don't want a huge bow. We could even put a little bow here. I think I'm gonna do that. So let me put, oops, that always happens. Hold on. I never quite cut it enough. Put a little bow, and I'm gonna put that on with a glue dot. And I'm gonna actually just peel the back off that one. Right there. So let me know what you guys think. Again, I did go a little bit off of my original color scheme from what I said I was gonna do. That one was the pink. I just need to make sure I wipe that off when we're done. Other thing you could add to this as well, if you wanted a little bit of something else to it, and this would be a cute idea, is you could even add a little bit, and I don't know if this would be too much, just thinking of like the color, the whole color, sorry, the bug now is flying up my nose, the color scheme, a little bit of gold. I don't know how that would look with the black and the white and the tan, but kind of a little bit of gold maybe with the dots. So instead of using the Melon Mambo for the dots, or we also did Magenta Madness, if you did that with Versamark and you could add teeny bits of gold, I think that would be kind of cool too. So gold dottage, right? Wouldn't that be a good idea? I think if I went with this, it would be a little too hard to control, but the gilded leafing, like if you could add little teeny bits would look cute. And if I hadn't already adhered this, I would definitely think that adding a little bit of gold embossing powder with either, if you happen to have a Versa marker, this makes it super easy to add it. You do just have to heat it. So you would just add your dots, add your gold embossing powder and heat to set it, would look super, super pretty. So I think that maybe I'm going to have to, because I am not going to do this now, but maybe what I'll do is I'll go back, because Linda, this will probably make you happy, and I'll add some gold dots to this. So actually we can just do this part now. I just won't necessarily adhere it. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat tool on. And I'm going to, since this was kind of wet, we did with the Wink of Stella, I'm going to use my embossing buddy just to kind of make sure it's dry in the center there so it doesn't stick everywhere when I dump it. But let's grab a, where's my gold? Silver. Gold would be such a nice contrast. Or even copper. Copper would look really nice as well. So let me just move this, and we can just kind of overlay this. So I'm going to take, this does have two ends. I have had this, I'm not joking, for at least 15 years. I'm just going to go onto the dots that are already here. If you don't have a Versamarker, the other thing you could do is use your blender pen and do the same thing. I'm going to put just a couple more. And I just going to kind of adding a couple little random tiny dots. So let's dump this. Hopefully it's going to, oh, that worked. Okay, let me close this up. Okay, and I'm going to grab my reverse tweezers just to hang on to this and heat it. Okay, that didn't take too long. So then instead, if you wanted to, I'm just going to overlay this so you can see what it looks like. You could add, oh, it's kind of overlay because it's tucked under. But that will be cute. Even going so far as to adding in the background, you could do these little dots with some gold. But that would look super, super pretty. You could add like a couple dots over here. That'll be really, really nice. The gold really does give it a nice extra touch. So there's just a little extra if you have something. Now, one thing to remember is once I did heat this, it kind of flattened the paper out a little bit. So I had slightly curled this. So you definitely want to do your curling after you do your heating. Just because of the flattening properties of the heat. It kind of straightens everything out. But really cute. Super adorable. And then you could just put this up on some dimensionals and add it to another layer of your card, even if you wanted to. You could have kind of the two things in the background. If you did that, if you wanted to cut this in multiple layers, you could almost layer this together. So you can see if you would offset it and pop it up on dimensionals, you would have the first layer, it's a little too matchy, and the second layer. So some fun ideas, what we did today. I really think they turned out really cool, considering I just walked upstairs and decided now was the time to make a card, because I wanted to do one for the past 3 days, but I just unfortunately have not had the time with everything starting with school going back and me going to be going back into the classroom. We're trying to get uniforms and school stuff together, which is just seemingly a crazy. You would think it would be kind of easy because it's not like it's any different from last year, but making sure that we have everything and having a 7-year-old try stuff on is just, I'm sure you all know, not as easy as it seems. So I thank you all so much for joining me today. I will try at some point again this weekend if I can hop back on here, and maybe we could do another version, but instead of using the artistic expressions, we could use the natures, because I think that'll be a really pretty one as well, with either using the DSP or the just using a piece of cork would be really pretty as well. So again, this one used, where did you get to? Artistically inked. That's this one. And we just did that little extra gold piece there, so that was really pretty. So you could always swap that out. And then another one that you could use if you wanted to is Nature's Harvest. And I think I really want to do this one here. And I think what I'm going to do is, this is just a random idea of thinking of. So if you have time and you have this stamp set, you could try this for me. Cutting this out with watercolor paper and then coloring it in, I think would be beautiful. But the other thing that'd be really cool is cutting this out with watercolor paper, coloring it, letting it dry, and then adding black embossing powder to the top. Wouldn't that be a cool idea? That's just things that come to me when I pick stuff up. And I think this is a beautiful stamp set. I really, really like it. I totally didn't get it at first. I got this actually on my second order that I did for the whole, I did a pre-order order. And then after I looked at it a little bit more, I thought it would be so versatile for so many things, for sympathy, for fall. I mean, even really for back to school would be great. You know, good luck. Thank you. If you're sending your kids back finally after all this time, probably going to need some good luck, right? Thank you guys so much for joining me today to make something fun. I hope you enjoyed our time together. Again, I'm going to kind of be pop-up live, so I really don't want to commit to a schedule because the one thing I hate is disappointing people. And I feel like just the way things are going now towards the end of the year, with the end of summer, I should say, I'm not able to pick a day and do anything. So I'll try if I can to give you notice. I do try to usually do like a 24-hour notice if I'm able to. But I thank you guys so much for coming back and watching me, even with this willy-nilly schedule. I know sometimes watching people this way is probably very irritating, especially if you like to be a planner and, you know, that kind of stuff. But thank you guys very much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a comment. I am going to draw. I have some fun stuff to give away, so I'm going to give you just a minute. I'm just going to chat for a moment. Leave a comment, and we'll draw to give something away. I thank you all so very much for joining me. If you have a card that you create after this, feel free to post it to my Facebook page. I love seeing people's card examples that they share. I don't get a lot of people sharing, and I would love to see what you create after the fact, or maybe what it's inspired you to create with an entirely different stamp set, because, you know, we can always all use ideas. So thank you guys again for joining me, and I will see you again real soon. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you're welcome to send me your email or send me your mailing address to my email, which is rachthestamper@gmail.com. I can send you out a catalog. We have our Christmas, winter, holiday catalog now, plus the big catalog, which is always fun. And if you would like to get any of these supplies and more, you can shop in my online store 24/7, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. If you don't have either of those things to do, please give me a thumbs up here on this. Leave me a comment. Share this with a friend. That is always super helpful as well. Thank you guys so very much. Oh, and Celebration. That is true. Thank you, Tina. What a wonderful reminder. You are the best. Celebration is going on right now. For every $50 you spend, you get something for free. There are a lot of really, really cool items. As a matter of fact, hold on. That's the one thing I did forget to mention. Tina, I owe you some coffee. I should meet you somewhere on 543. I don't know if you drink coffee or not, but since I can show you, I did do a super cool card. Hold on just one second. I'm going to show you. I did a really cool card. This beautiful paper. This one is the one I wanted to show you guys. It's really fun. But I had a really fun sheep card. You have the penguins. Super cute. Didn't get the Feels Like Home because I feel like a lot of times I'll get these and I just never color them in. One that I love is this Peaceful Prince. And I'm going to tell you one other thing, how I say things sold me. Now I need to buy the Peaceful Deer because I love the deer, which I need to get that because look at these cute deer. How adorable is that? Really simple gift tags. So I have to buy that now. But the Counting Sheep, I want to show you one card I made. And we can always make this together as well. But look at this card. It looks plain, but it's a fun fold. So it's super cute. I just recently got the die, so I think I might do another version of this and add the dies into it as well. So you can get this sheep stamp set for free with $50. If you happen to have a $100 order, you can also get the coordinating dies. And I love the fence. Super cute. The fence is great. This could be either clouds or it could be bushes. You have your sunshine, and you have a die cut for each of the 3 sheep, which is really, really cute. So that's another fun one. Textures and Frames is beautiful, and the Summer Shadows dies. And then the other one that a lot of people are loving are the Delicate Dahlias. This is another one that is a photorealistic stamp, so it's very, very true to the image. It looks like a photograph. And then I also got the beautiful words in the background. In your words has a lot of really, really nice sentiments in it. So this one you get with any $300 order. So if you have a large order, or maybe if you have a group of friends who want to have a party and you all order together, and then if you all live close, you could share the stamp set as well. We also have the starter kit right now that if you join, it's $99. You get to pick whatever you want to make your own kit, but you also get one of the bundles in the catalog, the winter catalog, for free in addition. So that's awesome as well. So thank you very much, Tina, for reminding me that. I appreciate it. Sometimes I forget those portions of it because I'm just too interested in making the cards. I thank you guys very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you real soon.